I mean, I didn't take it as, this time.
Good morning, and welcome everyone to the Northern Lights Center for Spiritual Living. We're a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create
lives we want to live.
The Northern Lights Center for Spiritual Living offers both spiritual and practical tools to make positive changes in our lives. Our promise here is to reveal, inspire, uplift, celebrate, and magnify your greatness. We acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded lands of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and Coastal Salish people, who are still here, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of Indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. In a similar fashion, we acknowledge how much of what we know in our country today, including our culture, economic growth and development throughout history and across time, has been made possible by the labor of enslaved Africans and their ascendants who suffered the horrors of transatlantic trafficking, chattel slavery, and Jim Crow. We also name the Asian and Chicano people who toiled with little recognition. We are indebted to their labors and sacrifices, and we acknowledge the tremors of that violence throughout the generations and the resulting impacts that can still be felt and witnessed today. And if you care to, please join me for our opening song, In This Very Room, by Ron and Carol Harris.
In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every day. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. In this very room.
Good morning. Nope, okay, I just put it on my.
All right, we're all good now. Good morning, all. Thanks for being here. If you haven't already, please get paper and pen. We have it here because Reverend Michael was so thoughtful in giving it to us all. So this morning's meditation is going to be a little different than we normally do. So how this is going to go and why we're doing this is that we're going to be, Reverend Pamela is going to be talking about rewriting our story. And in a lot of cases, we don't necessarily know what our story is. And so therefore, it might be difficult to rewrite it. And so I'm going to ask you a series of questions. What I'm asking you to not do is to write the question because that's going to take time away from your answers. I will, however, give you the questions after we finish the meditation if you would like to have the questions so you can further the exploration. Okay? This is going to be a stream of consciousness writing. So it's not going to be you going, what do I think about that? Be with whatever comes up first, because that's typically the right answer without you kind of editing it. So we're not going to edit, okay? So, everyone ready? Yes? Everyone have paper and pen? Excited?
Yes.
Maybe. Okay.
We'll let you know later.
Okay. All righty. So, Maestro, we would love to have some music. Thank you. And so we're going to allow ourselves to get centered before we go into the writing process. And so just allow yourselves to be comfortable in your seats. And letting go of everything that's happened up to this point. And just being in this perfect now moment. And so we're just going to allow ourselves to relax into this beautiful, beautiful moment. And absolutely hold everything down. And so let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths in and out together. So let's breathe in and let it go. And breathe in again and let it go. And one more time again. And let it go. And just allow yourselves to just be in this wonderful moment. Allowing your body to relax. And hold out one again to excavation into the revelation of the stories of our lives. And so the first question, what is the typical tone of my inner voice? What is the typical tone of my inner voice? What is the typical tone of my inner voice? Next question. Do I tend to be more critical or encouraging to myself? Do I tend to be more critical or encouraging to myself? Do I tend to be more critical or encouraging to myself? Next question. What are my common negative self-talk patterns I notice? What are common negative self-talk patterns I notice? What are common negative self-talk patterns I notice? Next question. In what situations do I tend to engage in negative self-talk the most? In what situations do I tend to engage in negative self-talk most? In what situations do I tend to engage in negative self-talk the most? Next question. How can I replace negative self-talk with more positive affirmation? How can I replace negative self-talk with more positive affirmations? How can I replace negative self-talk with more positive affirmations? Next question. What are some positive things I can say to myself when facing challenges? What are some positive things I can say to myself when facing challenges? What are some positive things I can say to myself when facing challenges? Next question. Do I often compare myself to others? And how does that impact my self-talk? Do I often compare myself to others? And how does that impact my self-talk? Do I often compare myself to others? And how does that impact my self-talk? And then last question. How can I become more mindful of my self-talk throughout the day? How can I become more mindful of my self-talk throughout the day? How can I become more mindful of my self-talk throughout the day? So let's take a deep breath in and let it go. And let it breath in and let it go. And be grateful for this time. And give gratitude for all that has been revealed and that will continue to be revealed. Knowing we are perfect in every way. Knowing that we are always enough and deserving and holy. And so as we allow ourselves to be back into this world, back into the States. I'm happy to be here. That always happens. So how was that? Revealing at all?
Interesting.
Interesting. Okay. So does anyone want the questions, or are we good?
Or I can email, you can email them to me and I can send them out.
I could do
Oh,
that.
that'd be really good, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So make sure that Reverend Michael has your email address and he can send the questions out. Yay. All righty. So the reading today is about rewriting one story.
Mm.
Surprise, surprise.
That's shocking.
And it comes from my phone, of course, and I wish I could read what that says. Oh, it comes from, I guess, a site called Your Time to Grow.
Hmm.
And then it has these neons that says, we are all made of stories.
Hmm.
And then the title is, do you need to rewrite your story?
Hmm.
And there is a quote. Are you going to let the story run your life, or are you going to rewrite it? The words barely registered before the answers came into my mind. I'm going to rewrite my story, I said. And here's how it goes. Humans are natural storytellers. We have been since we started communicating with each other. Stories are how we make the sense of our world. They shape our beliefs around ourselves, others, and the world around us. When you think about it, it's amazing how much power a story can influence our lives. The real power of a story comes from the telling of it. The more it is told, the power it has, and the more we hear it, the more it makes sense to us and influences our thoughts and actions. Telling your story. We all have a personal narrative, i.e., the stories we tell ourselves. These stories explain why we act or think the way we do. These stories may have been stories that we have heard about ourselves. We might think of these stories being authored by our family, friends, teachers, etc. There is another type of narrative, and that is the one we author ourselves.